He was playing a giant guitar this morning. He made it. He made that guitar. Yeah. Yeah, it's a big one. It's a big one. All right. Welcome to our Rainbow Series, Unstoppable in 2023. Yes, we call it the Rainbow Series because we are going into an element of our own energetic system known as the chakras. Now, within each chakra, there's a shadow and there's a grace. And the shadow is where we need healing. That's all. The shadow is a place that needs some tenderness, needs some attention, needs some acknowledgement. And we know we are living through our shadow when we are living through a mistaken perception of who we really are. And it will feel like this. We'll go through our day thinking, I'm not enough. I don't have enough. I don't have resources. I don't have the support I need. Life is not fair. Things work out for other people and not for me. Why are things so easy for so-and-so and I have to work so hard? And I am powerless to change things. And we'll believe that something out in the conditions of our life needs to change. We can't do the changes ourselves. But there's something to keep in mind about our shadow. It's the wound, of course, but the wound is the place where the light enters in. And this is where grace comes in. Grace brings the light and a path to healing. So we're learning in navigating this life of ours as a divine spark using a physical body to have this experience in this game of life that we're playing. We're learning how to manage our shadow and our grace. We're learning how that we can choose how we show up in this world every day. And we become unstoppable by knowing our authentic self or our divine identity. Okay, which is God is all things, and that means us. We are part of that. We are an expression and extension of divine source energy walking around on this planet. So there are a lot of ways that we can learn to do this, but we're unity. And so we use the unity principles, which we read right at the beginning of service. We use the unity principles, but we also talk about the universal laws that the unity principles are based on, okay? Now, the thing about the unity principles, the universal laws, they're not meant to be this woo-woo kind of thing that we're trying to understand, we're trying to get, and we just think we have to contemplate it. But actually, the universal laws and the unity principles are designed for us to put them to practical use in our lives. We're practical mystics. Who here gets the opportunity to go sit alone on a hill somewhere and get all enlightened? Right? Eventually you got to do your own laundry, right? Eventually you're cleaning up after a puppy. Eventually you got to make a meal or go to the grocery store. We are here to be the practical mystic in our life. Okay, so this is simplified by just us understanding the all. God is the all, and it's all things, everything that's ever been, everything that's yet to be. But it's not just a potential substance and then the substance of creation. It's also consciousness. It sets the intention before its creation. Now, of course, working through us, that's our inspiration. We received that inspiration. But where do you think we got it from? Okay, so it's consciousness. It sets the intention. But this source, this divine source, is also the volition to take action toward that intention. Right? And that is working through each of us every day. So today, I will be talking about the universal law of rhythm and the grace and the shadow in our third eye chakra. So the law of rhythm is a good one. It's about the ebb and flow of life, but it is the harmonious activity of the natural world. All right, and look at this, we see it everywhere, okay? The rising and the setting of the sun. There's a rhythm to that. Okay, the high tide and then low tide, or how the waves, they go out to the shore and then they come back into the ocean. There's the moon phases, right? New moon to full moon to new moon to full moon. Okay, there's that. And there's the seasons. Now, we may feel like we have a funny seasonal rhythm here where we live in Southern California, but it's a rhythm. Like it shows up pretty much the same every year. We're not like a New England seasonal cycle, which is really specific. You can see that happening, right? But even the seasons are rhythmic. We have in our own physical body, we're rhythmic, right? There's the law of rhythm working within us, our breath, inhaling, exhaling, our heartbeat, right? Pumping the blood through us, waking, and then going to sleep, and then waking. Or if you have a puppy or a baby, it looks like waking, going to sleep, waking, going to sleep, waking, going to sleep, waking, going to sleep. Okay? Eating, we're taking in nutrition, and then I just put ... Okay, just however that is. Okay, so this is good for us to know, right? In this law of rhythm is good for us to know. And in the spiritual world, the law of rhythm is also creating through each of us. There's a rhythm. There's this rhythm of creation going through us. However, it's not as apparent because we struggle against it. And when we struggle against the law of rhythm, it's like struggling against the waves on the beach. However, because the waves on the beach will beat you up if you don't work with the waves. They will beat you up. However, in our own life, we get so used to struggling against the rhythm of the universe, of the divine, of our own bodies. We're so used to the being beat up part, it feels normal. It feels normal to us. Okay, so why is it important for us to know about the law of rhythm? Okay, there's that. Okay. It's important for us to know about the law of rhythm, that it exists, that it's always at work, and we cannot, we'll suffer if we struggle against it, because the universe is responsive. It gives and it receives, all right? And that means that we are also in that flow because we are part of the rhythm of the universe, right? Not just your body, but your consciousness. You are a soul in harmony with the consciousness of the universe, but you've got your consciousness or your mind where you're unconscious and you may struggle against the flow. And then you've got your conscious mind where you're aware and maybe you're choosing to go with the flow. But you as a consciousness, you are an active participant in the creation of your own life. Each of us are. We're active participants, but we may be creating unconsciously and not like so much what's showing up in our life. So knowing that the universe is responsive, it is like playing ball with another person. Okay, if you show up at a park and you've got this ball, and there are all these people that want to play with you. They see you come walking in with this ball. All you have to do is throw the ball, and they'll throw it back, right? But sometimes we hang on to that ball, and then we're not playing, are we? And then we're disappointed, right? Because nobody's playing with us. We're holding on to the ball. But see, this is actually the best metaphor that I think for the rhythm of the universe, because this is a game that we're playing on this planet. We're playing the game of life right now. We're not here to be punished, right? Any punishing that we experience, that's a whole different talk, okay? But we're here to play along with the universe because we're an extension of the universe. So we want to participate with the universe, which means throwing that ball. See, the universe being interactive, being responsive, it will always throw it back to us. But we have to be the first one to throw the ball out there. Now, often what it looks like in our life is we throw out a question to the universe. And we may not consciously even know we're doing this, but maybe we're asking, what could I do better than what I'm doing? What am I supposed to be doing right now? Why do I keep feeling stuck? Or, should I do something different? Should I quit my job? Or should I, go here or go there? And sometimes we're just asking this stuff unconsciously in our own mind. But when we've done that, we've asked the question, we've just thrown out the ball. And the universe will throw it back at us, and we'll get something. We'll either get a little clarity, we'll get that inspiration, we'll get that aha, okay, that is what I should be doing. But see, if we receive that inspiration back without acting on it, we've just hung on to that ball, and we're not sending it anywhere. So we want to take that next action, right? The universe has just thrown us some clarity. Now we act on the clarity. And then guess what? It gives us the next thing to do. It throws the ball right back at us. These interactions, if we keep acting on them, if we keep acting on inspiration, if we keep doing something because we've gotten a little more clarity, we build a lot of momentum in our lives. So we just have to keep throwing the ball. That's all. Just keep throwing the ball. Now, rhythm and our third eye, this is, they work together. Of course, everything works together, but I needed a way to set this up into a series, so I like how the law of rhythm works with our third eye. Our third eye chakra, when you hear about the third eye chakra, you hear about, like, when people say things like, well, she's so psychic. And, like, he or she sees dead people and they can communicate with the beyond. And this is, there are people that can do this. But see, the third eye is also meant for us to use practically. We're supposed to be able to use this practically, and we use it with our intuition, we use it with our imagination, with our intellect, and our ability to reason, right? Outside of our shadow, we are reasoning. We can look at what's working in our life. We can look at what's not working in our life and make the decision that this thing maybe needs to go, and maybe then we need to start doing this thing. Okay, this is all happening right here in our third eye. We get a knowing, right? We just know something, right? We get inspired. We feel that aha, like we get the reason and we're aha'd. Now it's through our third eye that we receive direct revelation, right? The next thing to do to follow that light through the darkness, follow the light through the great unknown. Now, the shadow of this chakra is envy. And envy makes us really irrational because we get really focused on what's working in somebody else's life. We get really focused on what's so great in their life and how everything seems so easy for them. And we feel like that should be ours. Like, why didn't that happen for us? Okay, so we envy them. And when we are envying someone, we're going to feel like life is working against us. Right, it worked for them, and they have everything they want, but I got nothing over here. I just have to keep struggling. But that means we're in our shadow, because I'm not enough. I don't have enough. Life is not fair. Like, how do I get through this? I don't have the strength. I don't have the courage, the guidance. But see, remember when we're in our shadow, we're struggling against the waves in the ocean. That's all we're doing. We're just getting beat up by those waves because we're struggling against the rhythm of the universe. With envy, when we're in envy, we're hanging on to that ball. We're not throwing it out there. We're hanging on to it because we want somebody else to do all the work for us. Right? We want the universe to do all the work for us, and it can feel like we're being cheated out of something. This is actually why there's this particular marketing ploy that works so well. It'll start off with something like, only 3 spots left. Reserve your spot now. It's going to be gone tomorrow. And we're not going to do this again for another year. If I receive, like I have so many emails I get. And if any email I receive, if it says that in there, I have to read everything about it because I'm afraid somebody's going to get my spot. Right? That's how well this works. Right? We're worried about somebody getting our thing. Okay, so that's in the shadow of envy. Now, in envy, we might envy what people have, their nice house, their job, their family, their money, but we also might envy who they are, their talents, their accomplishments, their abilities, their successes, everything that they can manage to do and make it look really easy. And so when we're in envy, then we might start using like the dark arts to get what we want, right? I call it the dark arts. That's manipulating. We feel like we have to manipulate conditions to get what we want. Sometimes what that looks like is stealing someone else's idea because we don't feel like we can come up with something on our own and it seems to work for them, so let's copy them. Or we'll try to force something. Or try to force it to happen, right? The universe isn't working quick enough. It must not want me to do this, and this has got to happen. This is the only way I can be happy. So we're trying to force a square peg into a round hole. We'll always get lousy results when we're trying to manipulate things because we're not being our authentic self. We're not calling forth what we are meant to be creating in our life. And all of us are meant to be creating something, right? It doesn't even matter what that is, but it's the fact that it's coming through us. That's what makes it ours. So if we're in our shadow, we're not trusting what is within us. We're not trusting our guidance. We're not trusting that we could accomplish anything. So we don't have faith in ourselves to do the work. If we don't have faith in ourselves, we don't have faith in that divine force in God working through us, for us, as us. We won't have faith. And even when we receive divine direction, if it's wanting us to do some work, to throw the ball back out to the universe, we won't listen. If we're in the shadow of envy, we won't listen. We just want to hear what we want to hear, which is that the next thing to happen will be really easy and offer us a bunch of guarantees that we'll be happy for the rest of our life. Envy causes us to diminish all the good in our lives. Envy causes us to forget what we have already accomplished up to this point in our life. Envy just negates all of it, makes all of it unimportant. Okay, that's the shadow of envy. It is so toxic that all we ever see are the missed opportunities that have already happened. Even though there are opportunities happening right here and now, we're not going to pay attention to those because those look hard. Those look like we might have to throw the ball out there. So we won't even pay attention to them. From the book of Proverbs, a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones. Think about, somebody knew this like 3,000 years ago. Like, I'm not sure when Proverbs was written, but it was more than 2,000 years ago. Somebody knew this. Somebody already had awareness of this. It's grace that gives us the peace in our heart so that we're giving life to the body. So the grace of this chakra is sacred knowledge. Sacred knowledge, not facts and figures and data, sacred knowledge. In its purest form, it manifests through us as a revelation about the nature of the divine. And we can call forth this revelation about the nature of the divine anytime. Like literally any time. We can get this aha moment anytime and anywhere. Why? Because God is all things. And that means everything is a potential channel for an aha moment. You might have an aha moment listening to a song on the radio. You might have an aha moment just quietly thinking in your car while you're driving. Or if you're in a conversation with some friends, or if you're watching a movie, you're just doing something. You're maybe coloring a coloring page. You have an aha moment and just kind of, poof, just kind of happens. Okay? Because anything can be the channel for that aha for us. Now, this grace, when we're in the grace of knowledge, of sacred knowledge, we're actually in all the graces up from the first chakra up. Okay, we're in the grace of reverence. So we see all the world as sacred. We're in the grace of piety. So we are devoted to seeing all the world as sacred and showing up to participate in all the world as the sacred being that we are. The grace of understanding. We don't know why certain things are happening. We don't know why certain people behave the way that they do or do the things that they do or like crazy things happening in the world. But in the grace of understanding, what we do know is that because God is the all, solutions can come from anything, and we don't need to know everything. We don't need to know everything because we do understand that there are a lot of moving parts in this universe, and it's not up to us to know the activity of God in other people or in situations. So we're here to show up in the package of our own life, doing our best. And then the grace of fortitude, because it takes strength and courage to do that next thing, to step out of our comfort zone. We're not here to be a soul in a body in a comfort zone sitting around all the time. We're here to be a soul in a body having adventures and playing the game of life. So we are going to need that strength. We're going to need that courage to be committed and keep doing the next best thing, because there's going to be that little voice in our head that's going to talk us back into the comfort zone. This is too hard. Maybe you should try something easier. Okay, or who do you think you are to try this? This is the job for someone else. Or this is my favorite. Somebody else has already done this. Why do you think you could do it any better? Okay, that voice. So we need the courage and the fortitude to keep going on anyway. Okay, then we have our grace of counsel. The grace of counsel is to follow the divine direction. And remember, we don't have to know how. We don't have to know how, because there's that within that knows what to do, how to do it, and it compels us to act on what it knows. This is the consciousness and the volition of spirit moving through us. It knows how to do it, and it compels us to act on what it knows. Okay, so with the grace of counsel, we remember God doesn't call the qualified, God qualifies the called, and each step along the way, we're getting a little more qualified every time we do the next action. Okay, so then we are in the grace of sacred knowledge, and this is where we're going to get a reality check on our spiritual path, on the work we're doing. We're getting a reality check because the grace of knowledge is about the insight into the nature of the divine. The insight into the nature of the divine. The nature of the divine is love. It is love. And not feelings love. Okay, not having favorites, not having a preference. The divine is love because God is all things. And because God is all things, it recognizes all as part of the all. Okay, the God, the all, the source of all things, doesn't look at one thing and reject it because it doesn't like it. It doesn't look at something else and judge it as not being good enough and just like, you're out of here. Okay, the all, God, accepts all things as itself or as an extension of itself. So this is really the insight into the nature of the divine. Everything is sacred, even when we particularly don't like how it shows up in the world. So all are one. This is in spiritual circles, we love to say this. Oh, all is one. All is one until we get out in our life and we want to reject something. All is one is an inconvenient truth because we're not going to like acknowledging that all is one, right? There are going to be things we want to reject, right? If somebody doesn't eat, vote, pray, or parent like we do, maybe we're not going to want to be around them. We're going to reject their thoughts. We're going to reject their existence. That's not a good person over there, right? All is one. Now, what happens when we reject someone or something? This is us pushing against those waves because we're forgetting that's the divine spark at work in another person. And we don't know how God is going to show up in their activity. That's actually going right back to the first chakra shadow of arrogance and hubris, thinking that we know better than that consciousness and volition that's working through that person that maybe we didn't vote for. Right? That's hubris on our own part. And so we are pushing against the natural rhythm of the universe through our body, through our consciousness. We're pushing against it, and that's going to cause us to struggle. Love is what we experience when we embody all of these graces. That's love, and that's power. Now, here's the thing is, we don't have to like everyone. We just remember they're also, an expression of the divine, and we don't know how the divine's at work in them, and that's okay. Let's just not even think about it. But we accept them as part of the all. Okay, but you don't invite them over to your house. Don't invite them up to your table if you don't want to spend any time around them. We're just acknowledging what's at work within them. Okay, we're just acknowledging. So we don't reject them. We just accept them as part of the all. Now this revealed knowledge, right, as we are embodying all the graces, this revealed knowledge is given to us when we are in the flow of that giving and receiving, in the rhythm of the universe. We're playing ball. When we play ball with the universe, what this means is we have faith in ourselves because we're trusting the activity of God through ourselves and through everybody else. We trust that activity. We have faith then in what it is working through us, for us, as us. And so there are many people, some you've heard of, okay, they've listened to this divine revelation and they've changed their life. They've done something really hard and it changed the course of their life. For example, Moses. Moses received a divine revelation. Moses didn't even want to do that. He didn't want to go to Egypt. Okay, but he did it anyway and it changed the course of his life. It totally flipped his life around. Buddha Buddha received a divine revelation to give up a life in comfort to go discover, the meaning of life. Teacher Yeshua, he received a divine revelation and he also did not want to do it. He wanted to just hand it over to God and he wanted to just go have a life. Muhammad received a divine revelation. Joan of Arc received a divine revelation. Gandhi received a divine revelation to sit in quiet revolution. Okay, Ram Dass received divine revelation to share his thoughts on how the universe works. Wayne Dyer received divine revelation to share his thoughts on how the universe works for us. Now, all of these people, they started off as regular people like us. They ended up getting, famous. We've all heard of them. But they still had to overcome resistance. They still had to overcome a way of thinking and acting, right? They had stuff to overcome. So we're not any different. We're going to have our own stuff to overcome. We're going to have our own shadows, right? In that moment when we say, oh, this thing triggered me, we've just discovered a part of our shadow. And let's look at that, right? How can I love that? Right, so, there's no pressure at all to do anything of a huge magnitude in our life, but it is good for us to remember that there is a bigger force at work here. There's a bigger force at work in each of us, and when we work with this force, this is how we become unstoppable. Right, this is how we become a rising tide, living as an example, so other people can see that this stuff works. So we don't have to be perfect. We just have to be willing. We just have to be willing to throw the ball out there to the universe. That's all. Okay? So we can remind ourselves, of course, that there's a rhythm. There's a natural rhythm to the universe, to life. Even within us, there's a natural rhythm. And if we are struggling, we're in our shadow. When we act on sacred knowledge and we take that next action, we're not just doing it for ourselves. Okay, acting on sacred knowledge, acting on divine direction, we're doing this for our kids. And we are doing this for our parents. And we are doing this for our friends. And we are doing this for our community. Right? This is how we show up. This is how we expand the good in our lives. This is how we expand our territory. This is how we all become unstoppable. And this is how we become a rising tide. Okay, the rising tide lifts all the boats, not just our own boat. So we live this example so others also can benefit. We're revealing to other people that it's in our nature to do so, that you don't have to be special. Like at the beginning, Moses wasn't special. He was chosen, right? He was called to do something. We're all called to do something, which means it's in our divine design. And so then if we can do it, anybody can do it. And that's really what we want to show people in our lives. Hey, if I did it, you can do it. We're just demonstrating. So here's our call to action. I like our affirmation this week. I'm playing this game of life. Let's say that together. I am playing this game of life. I am playing this game of life. Are you ready to be a playa in this game? Are you ready? Right? Because I know you're not here just to gather data and sit on the sidelines and wait for things to happen. I know that you're not here just to do that. You're not here to just be inspired and sit in your comfort zone and navel gaze about that great inspiration you just got. You're not here to do that. You're here to call that forth into your life. You're here to create in your life as the Creator creates in the universal. You're here to bring forth your divine gifts. Okay, you're here to bring forth your talents. You're here to bring forth your passions, the things that you love, and share them with other people. That is what you are here for. So I am going to ask you a question this week. Just do this week, let's do this together, power and numbers, right? Ask yourself, in any moment, am I honoring my gifts? Am I honoring my gifts by doing what I'm doing? Or am I manipulating conditions with a dark magic? Do I feel out of sync with life? Because if we're feeling out of sync with life, we're struggling against the rhythm. We're not thinking about, oh, God is all things and that means me. You know, one of the things that happens when I notice I'm out of sync is, you know how you see the numbers like 1111 or 222 or 333, right? You see those numbers? I'll see 1110, or I'll see 332 or 221. Like I'll see just like one number will be off, and I'll just think, oh, like I'm just a little out of sync with the matrix right now. Okay. But we want to look out at our life and see how we are sharing ourselves. Okay? And also remember this. Remember to notice if you're in your shadow. And remember, again, this is what you're going to feel. I'm just not enough. I can't handle this. I don't have enough. I don't have enough resources. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough support. I don't have enough of the whatevers. You fill in the blank. Life isn't fair. So-and-so has this, and why can't I have this? I'm powerless to change things. I need somebody else to ride in here on their white horse and fix my life for me. All this means when you're feeling this is you're out of sync. There's a wound. There's a wound that needs tending and attention. You're in a mistaken perception of yourself. That's all, because this is not true about you. It's just a mistake. You're looking through the wrong lens out onto your life. Time to call forth more light. That's all. Time to call forth the light. Time to embody the graces. Now in unity, of course, I like to use the unity principles. And I've gotten to where I can just get through the first two and I start feeling better already. God is all things, everything that's ever been and everything that's yet to be, and I am an expression of that. Oh yeah, I am an expression of that. I was forgetting that God is all things also means inspiration and guidance and ideas, and that voice is like, get moving. Just do it. You'll love this. Okay, but we can keep going if we're really struggling. Okay, I create my experiences through my way of thinking and acting, and I was in my shadow. Like I need to give myself some love there. Affirmative prayer and meditation help me to align with the divine within me. I could stop saying such mean things to myself. I am like, I'll never manage this. I'm not good enough. Like I start affirming the truth about myself based on God is all things, and I'm an expression of that. Okay, I am a divine spark walking around in a body on this planet right now. What couldn't I do? Like if I wanted to do it, what couldn't I do? What wouldn't be possible for me? Learning these principles is not enough. We must live them. We must live them. We talk about these principles and we get inspired. But inspiration is not the transformation. Talking about it can inspire us, but it's only through working the principles, working these spiritual truths, that we start experiencing transformation. So I'm going to ask you, like, do you want to play this game? Do you want to play this game of life? Like, do you want to say, like, I'm all in? I want to hear that really loud. I'm all in. I'm all in. Okay, I want to hear it one more time. I didn't hear you there in the back. I'm all in. Okay. Yes. Just play us here in this game of life. I don't even know if I'm using the right hand signals. I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing. I know I am all in. I am only interested for myself in being unstoppable. In fact, I've decided I'm also only interested in being inconvenient. I've decided that for myself. I'm going to be inconvenient too, because I'm unapologetic about what I believe. And if it bothers somebody, that's okay. That's their own shadow. But I've decided I want to be inconvenient. I want to be a rising tide. I'm done being a bystander. I was a bystander in my own life for most of my life. Nothing happened when I was a bystander. Nothing. Right? I watched other people do things. Nothing happened for me. So I'm not interested in that anymore. And see, I know you're not either. I know you're not interested in being a bystander and watching everybody else create a life they love. I know that you want to be a player. Bystanders don't do greater things. Bystanders don't expand the good in their lives or expand their territory. Bystanders don't call forth the good. And we are here to demonstrate the good. We're here to call forth greater good. We're here to live this truth, and we are here to do greater things. So are you ready, playa? Because the clock is ticking. The clock is ticking. We want to go all in with this. This means playing ball with the universe. This means not holding. There was a game of ball where you couldn't hold it for more than a second or you were out. And there was a whole bunch of people in a circle. And you just had to keep throwing the ball. And if you held it, you were out and you didn't get to play anymore. You had to become a bystander. So we just want to throw that ball as quick as we can. Just take some action. Just take any action. Okay, there have been studies that people who take a bunch of actions, I know I've shared this before, people who take a bunch of actions, they get a lot farther even if they make more mistakes than people who analyze everything with one action first before they take that action. Because people who take a lot of action, they know if oh, this isn't working, I'll do this instead. They choose again, right? They just choose again. Okay, so we are here to demonstrate that good. We are here to call forth the good. We are here to play in the game of life. We're here to play ball with the universe, because that is how we are creating heaven on earth. So until next time, remember, you are the activity of spirit in a body. You are divinely designed to be doing all of this stuff. In everything you do, you are blessed, and so it is. So it is.